I've made a lot of videos about how anxiety works, but something happened to me recently that not only showed me firsthand that what I've been teaching my viewers is correct, but also taught me some new things that surprised me. So I'm going to tell you what I learned from this experience and what you can learn from it to help with your health anxiety. So let me tell you what happened. Over the last year or two, I seem to have been collecting symptoms. I know I'm getting older, so I just put most of them down to age and didn't bother going to the doctor. My initial symptoms were urinating a lot more than I used to, getting sleepy in the afternoons, itchy skin and hives, pains in my hips at night. I had a couple of occasions of flashing lights in my eyes, and occasionally get a bit dizzy if I turn quickly. The last symptom to develop was an awful metallic taste in my mouth, which was driving me nuts. Even that I put up with for about 5 months and didn't really worry about it. Then I had a fishing weekend with my friend, and he commented on how much water I drank. I'd never thought of it before, but over a day's fishing I drank 4 times the amount of water that he had. Some of you have probably worked out what I was thinking. Yes, you guessed it, diabetes. I knew that some of these symptoms were consistent with diabetes. So I did what I'm always telling my subscribers not to do. I consulted Dr. Google. I thought I was reasonably safe as I don't suffer from health anxiety, and due to my CBT training I tend to think in a fairly balanced way. In fact, I was quite relaxed about having diabetes as it's quite treatable, and I know that I can be strict with my diet as I already have some restrictions due to having IBS. So I googled what are the symptoms of diabetes and found this. Frequent urination, tick. Feeling thirsty, well, I do seem to drink more than others. Fatigue, yes, I often fall asleep in the afternoons. I haven't had blurred vision as such, but I have had flashing lights, which kind of blurs the vision in the corner of my eye. But I also had several other symptoms not mentioned, so I decided to Google those missing symptoms. I started with the most annoying one. Is a metallic taste in the mouth a sign of diabetes? Google quickly confirmed that it was. What about my hip pain? Here again, Google confirmed that hip pain was linked to diabetes. What about my hives and itching? Could that be caused by high blood sugar? Well, according to Google, it can. And finally, dizziness. Once again, a link to diabetes. So my symptoms were now ticking a lot of boxes for diabetes. I decided I'd better make an appointment at the doctor's. In the UK, we have free healthcare, which is called the National Health Service. Now, it's no secret that the NHS is not very good and has been getting worse for years, for reasons I'm not going to go into here. So it was no shock when I was told I had to wait 3 weeks to see the doctor. But it's okay, although highly suspicious that I have diabetes, I wasn't particularly anxious about it. But I was curious, and if I did have it, I knew I should probably reduce my sugar intake sooner rather than later, which was going to be hard because I love sugar. So I asked some friends who were diabetics what they thought of my array of symptoms. Some of my symptoms matched their own experience, and the wife of one diabetic said, "You are definitely diabetic." That was enough for me. No need to wait for the doctor, I had reached my conclusion. I have diabetes. So I immediately reduced my sugar intake, which made me pretty miserable. I still didn't feel anxious, but I was aware that I was spending too much time Googling, and that goes against everything I teach you guys. So I had a word with myself and stopped. While I waited for my doctor's appointment, I stayed away from Google completely. About a week before my doctor's appointment, my neighbour, who was a diabetic, asked if I wanted to use her blood sugar meter. Why not, I thought. I was fully expecting it to confirm that my blood sugar was high. Only it didn't. My blood sugar was perfect. It didn't make sense. I was sure I was diabetic. But, I thought, I'd already cut sugar out of my diet, so maybe my blood sugar just wasn't high at the time I did the test. Maybe I'm just in the early stages of developing diabetes. Or maybe there was something else causing these symptoms. This led to me going back to Google, particularly to research the metallic taste, which was still driving me nuts. My initial searches showed some fairly harmless causes, like this one. But as I kept searching, I started coming across some scary stuff, like this. However, when I looked into the other symptoms of these awful diseases, they didn't match mine at all. So I decided, nah, I don't have cancer. However, if I'd come across this 20 or so years ago when I did occasionally have bouts of health anxiety, it would have probably scared the hell out of me. And I'm sure a lot of you who struggle with health anxiety can relate to that. Then I thought to myself, what am I doing? I'm back on Google. I know that's a sure way to make yourself anxious. What a hypocrite I am. So I shut down my computer and stayed off until the doctor's appointment. The day of the doctor's appointment finally came. The doctor listened to all my symptoms and said, I don't think you have diabetes. So what's causing all these symptoms? I said. Age, he replied. What does he mean? I thought. I'm only 53. I go to the gym every week. I skate every week. And spent a lot of the last 5 years being thrown around in jiu-jitsu. I'm a very young 53, I will have you know. Well, we will do some blood tests to be sure, said the doctor. These blood tests will show him how wrong he is, I thought. Then I had to wait another 3 weeks to have the blood test, plus another week for the results. However, in true NHS style, they lost my blood samples, which meant I had to wait another 3 weeks for them to take my blood again. Good job I don't suffer health anxiety, or I would have been sick with worry. Anyway, almost 8 weeks after seeing the doctor, I had my results. The moment of truth that I, and probably you, have been waiting for had finally arrived. They were absolutely fine. Not just were my sugar levels okay, but various other tests done showed that everything was working as it should. So what did I learn from this experience, and what can you learn? Firstly, I learned something new about the anxiety cycle, which I cover in many of my videos. The anxiety cycle shows how your behaviours reinforce negative thoughts and beliefs and drive anxiety and can even cause physical symptoms. But in my case, I wasn't experiencing any anxiety or any anxiety-related physical symptoms. The doctor explained that the symptoms I was experiencing were idiopathic, which means they just happen to people and doctors have no idea what causes it. I did find the cause of one symptom though. The aching hips turned out to be caused by sitting too long on my reclining sofa. So what this experience showed me is that even if you don't suffer anxiety, your actions will still reinforce your beliefs. It just shows us how powerful our actions or behaviours are. Googling symptoms, questioning people who have diabetes, and using my neighbour's blood sugar tester all reinforced the belief that I had developed diabetes. But surely when my neighbour's blood sugar tester showed I was fine, I should have realised that I'm not diabetic. Well, this leads me to another thing I learnt. In psychology, it's called confirmation bias. Human beings tend to seek confirmation of what confirms their beliefs, not what disproves them. This doesn't just happen with anxiety, it happens with religion, politics, and many other aspects of life. For example, if you believe that this guy is the best thing to happen to America, you probably watch Fox News or OAN, who will confirm your belief that Trump is the best thing since sliced bread. But if you prefer this guy, you will probably watch CNN, who will confirm your belief that Trump is a dreadful human being hell-bent on destroying democracy. Any opinion or even facts to the contrary will be discarded based on your beliefs, which the media are very good at reinforcing. So it seems my own confirmation bias made my brain and Google lie to me. But it's not really Google's fault. Google actually gave me a few clues that I didn't have diabetes, but my brain filtered them out due to my confirmation bias. In my very first search, my brain filtered out the slow healing cuts, weight loss and tingling in the hands and feet, all of which I don't have. And I don't have weak or shrinking thigh muscles, but again I filtered it out. The itchy skin I have is nothing to do with infections or poor circulation. It was confirmed a long time ago as urticaria and was probably a hangover from COVID. But again, my brain conveniently forgot that. And the problem with Google is that if you keep looking long enough, you will find something that fits your confirmation bias. And for people with health anxiety, that is usually a belief that you are seriously ill or prone to ill health. So if you suffer health anxiety, what should you do? Try to reduce your reassurance-seeking behaviours, particularly Google. If you find you're reading the same articles over and over again, you can be sure that all you are doing is fueling your anxiety. Be aware of your confirmation bias. If you can't keep off Google, go to the things that made you very anxious and read them again. See what bits your brain might have filtered out. Use those bits to help you counter your negative thoughts. If you don't know how to do that, then you might want to watch this video here. And you can learn lots more about how to manage health anxiety in my health anxiety playlists, which you'll find here.